Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald near Liberty in front of the house that Bill built. Now this may not seem extraordinary to you until you learn that Bill built this house, virtually just he and his wife Marge, after he had lost his right hand in a farm accident. And all the tools that Bill used to build this house, he had to build two to fit his prosthesis. Now if this story doesn't inspire you, you better check your pulse. Well, Bill, back in, and correct me if I'm wrong, 1995, you were doing some farm work and had what most people would probably consider a career-ending injury. What happened to your arm?
Well, guy asked to lend him a hand and he ain't give it back. What actually happened was we was driving, me and my wife drove over the road at the time, and we was north of Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And it come one of those quick, big, wet snow. And she was driving and I was in the sleeper. And she lost control and laid it over, and I come down on my head and pinched a nerve in my, and if I'd raise up real fast or turn my head or something, I'd get dizzy. But it wasn't nothing that would stop you. You just learn to live with it. And so I had a one-row corn picker on the other farm, and I was picking corn, and the clutch slipped on the corn picker, so I stopped, but I didn't shut it off. I just let it idle. Got out, and I seen what was the clutch. I said, no, it'll feed through and go on. That's no problem. So being a truck driver, I wanted to check the tires. So I went around and kicked the tire. Well, I stepped over the tongue and under the elevator, and I raised up too fast. I got dizzy. I put my hand out, and it went right in the husker.
Oh my God.
And being a dumb guy like I am, I said, well, I'll just take a pocket knife out and cut it, which I couldn't have done anyway because pocket knife wouldn't go through a bone to start with. But I had carpal tunnel at the time too, so I dropped the knife and it went through the machine, and it was wearing down. So I pulled the pin out of the tongue, stuck it in the gears, and it killed a tractor. And I was there for 3 hours or 3.5, something like that. Jess Mounds is up there putting manure on his garden, and the wind was blowing so hard from him to me that I could hear his tractor real easy. He couldn't hear a word. I yelled and yelled and yelled at him. And we had, it was November the 8th, and we had some Filipino hunters here from Skokie, Illinois. And after 3 hours, they'd come down to go hunting. They hunt in the morning and night. And Victor come up, and he seen me that I was caught and started running in circles. I said, whoa, go up there and turn that key off, because the fan was still running. I didn't want to run the battery down. And so he did that. And I said, now get the toolbox out there and come set it on the tire right here in front of me. And I said, now he had to walk a half a mile up to get to his vehicle. I says, go into Beverly and get Randy Huddleston, tell him to bring his cutting torch, because I knew that there was 2 bolts that was going to have to be cut. They were rusted out.
In the meantime, all this time, all these hours, your hand is stuck in this machine.
Yeah.
And you're stuck to it. You can't free yourself. You can't.
I can't.
You don't
do
even
that.
know what kind of damage you've done at this point, right?
Oh yeah,
Because
I
it's
know.
in there. Do you?
You ain't got but about that much room, and the hand ain't that.
Oh my goodness.
So they went up there, and I got it. The time he got back, I had it all disassembled, and except for those 2 bolts that they had to cut off.
You knew at that point that you had no hand, and you had
That's
no
what
hope
I
of
did.
having a hand because
That's
it was all
what I
shredded.
told them. I said, "Don't you even try to save it." I said, "I've seen too many people that had hands that they just were no good at all."
Now, most people would say, okay, now, I'm a one-handed guy. I'm going to rely on everybody else to help me out because I've worked hard all my life and I deserve it. But that wasn't the way you approached life. After that, you decided, you know what, I think we're going to build our dream home. And you went ahead and did it, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how many people I chewed out that tried to do stuff for me.
You weren't going to have it, huh?
I went over to get some fertilizer at FS, and so I was going to grease the wagon, and guy comes out there, "Here, let me help you." I said, "You get the heck out of here." I said, "I can do this here by myself." I said, "I don't want, if I need help, I will ask. And if I don't you ask." That's what I say the biggest problem with people being handicapped is the do-gooders that always want to do stuff for them.
Yeah.
Instead of letting them do or making them do what they need to be done.
In order to build this house, which you started after your accident, and in order to continue to make a living, you had to devise tools for your stump that would allow you to work.
Yep.
And as we're looking at the evidence here of this, you figured, well, I'm going to build this house in 180 days. It took you 5 years, but doggone it, you did it, right?
Yep. Well, probably the time worked on it was, but it was me and my wife did it mostly.
Yeah.
We did have, like I say, putting the trusses on. I had to have help, and putting the sheetrock on the ceiling, I had to have help. But I put all the sheetrock on the walls, and we did everything.
Yeah.
I did all the plumbing, all the electrical, so it just whatever needed to be done.
But before we look at these tools that you invented and built to help you do this, viewers might wonder, well, why is he in a bed in his living room? And that goes back to your accident a little bit too, doesn't it?
Yeah, because what happened, being 70 years old, like my mother, when she was 70, her hip broke and she fell. Well, and then I can show you where it's at. The ground is flat, and I was cutting a tree
With a chainsaw.
with a chainsaw, and my foot, my leg right here broke, and I went down, and I let go of the chainsaw with my hand, but the hook wouldn't let go, and it went down and cut.
Sliced you up pretty good, didn't it?
Yeah, it went within a centimeter of the artery.
So now you got a broken leg, and you got your leg chewed up with the chainsaw.
Yep.
Are you healing pretty good?
Yeah, I get around. I still do my hay and stuff.
Are you still haying, and you can still use the chainsaw?
Oh yeah, I'm cutting firewood. I've got 2 pickup loads already on the trailer, and started one more. He wants them. I got to deliver 3 loads to a guy.
Well, I don't want to take all your time because you're a busy man. You got work to do. But can you show us these tools? Some of these tools that you built?
Yeah, whatever suits you just tickles me plumb to death.
Okay, well, let's go take a look.
All right.
Bill, I asked you to get some of the tools that you made out so you could continue working, one, as a truck driver, as a farmer, and build your house. And so you got a sampling of these things out for us. First, though, you had to build something that could be your arm. That could be the end of your arm, right? And that's what the fiberglass is.
Yep. That's because you have to go with trial and error. Like I say, this is the 4th one that I've made. This other one was the 3rd. The 1st and 2nd one.
You keep trying, and pretty soon you settle on something that works, right?
Well, or you learn.
Yeah, you learned. You learned. And you wanted to, since you wanted to start on your house, I'm going to pick this up and hand it to you and show us how that attaches. Okay, so it's like a drill. It's like a drill chuck.
It is a drill chuck.
It is a drill chuck. Okay, and that's tight enough that you could actually pound nails with that, huh?
Oh, heck yes.
I'm not going to ask you to because you got plenty other work to do.
Well, I can show you.
No, okay, all right.
It's no problem. All I got to do is find the nail. Screw. There's a nail. Just happen to have one left.
Have any idea how many of these nails you must have driven while you were building your house?
All of them that went in.
All thousands of them, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
It sure is sturdy enough, isn't it?
Yep.
And all of these tools sort of fasten the same way, don't they? You loosen that chuck
Yep.
and another one goes in.
And
of course,
like,
if you're going to put nails in, you got to be able to take nails out too, right?
well, because you're driving in the wrong place. Yeah. And then I should probably drove that in further than I should have.
There it goes.
Oh, I'll find it later.
And that attaches too. That crowbar attaches as well, just the same way.
Yeah, it's all you do is usually you put it on like that so that you can hit it and drive it in. So
now this is a curious one back here. I mentioned that you were a truck driver, and in order for you to be able to shift gears, your right hand was no longer there to shift gears. So you're working for a trucking company, and you got to figure out a way to shift all those gears, right?
Right. And so you just put it on there, and the same thing is well.
Okay, this piece I have goes over the shift.
It
bar.
is it is part of it.
Oh, it is part of it. Okay.
Yeah. See, that's where the air goes through, and that. It just basically is on for international tractor for Gully and McNay.
And you were able to keep working because of that.
It was a sit-down job, so I can do that. I'm lazy.
Sure. Yeah, you're lazy. All right. What about this huge pointed thing? What was this for?
Well, that's so that you can repair on one of the combines to get back in there to drive the bolt out. I had to have something long enough to reach back in. So that's the reason I did that.
So hand and driving a combine requires all kinds of specialty things that you take your hands for granted with. You just take them for granted, and if you don't have one, you got to build it. You got to replace it with something, huh?
That's the way it is.
Now, this is a kind of complex-looking organism here. What's that thing do?
This is just to hold stuff. I used it in holding electrical things, and it just was something that this is the only tool that was made before I had a use for it.
But you knew you were going to have to hold stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we made this here to use it.
Okay. You also showed me something that works as a pipe wrench. Where is that?
This here?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that allows you to hold like a pipe wrench would, right?
Yeah.
When you're running water lines.
Yeah, for the plastic. It wouldn't do too good on metal though. Probably break, because My welding ain't the best in the world.
Your welding's pretty good though.
And that,
And then you have like a general hook, right?
yeah. I don't know how you tell the difference between a general hook and a major hook.
This is a major hook here, isn't it? The major hook. And in this, you would just, like, if you're just walking around on your work site or something, you need to be able to
Yeah.
manipulate stuff.
Yeah, this is my, the one that I use the most. But if you want to have for a broom or rake, that works pretty good. And this is the one that for the combine, but it's not like it was because I made it for something else, and I don't know what I made it, redone it for. And then this here's my woodworking tools here. This is for pushing wood through the joiner or through the table saw. And this is for the radial arm saw.
If I'd been through what you'd been through, I would never get near a saw again, but you don't seem to have any fear.
But it ain't the saw's fault or anything. The machinery does exactly what it's
supposed to
do.
Right? We make the mistakes, it doesn't, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I noticed that most of these, like these for instance, these are all only adaptable because they have leather parts to them. And you're not a leather worker, are you?
Not at all.
But you knew one.
Yes, I knew one.
So I think what I want to do is ask him about how he devised all these things. Can we do that now?
Sure can.
Greg Boer at Boer Boot and Shoe, you do a lot of leather work.
Yes.
And it just so happens that Bill, shortly after his accident, had heard about you or knew about you from somewhere and came to you because he needed some leather work done.
Yes.
What's your recollection of the way you two met?
Well, I really remember because we've done a lot of work on people's prosthetic legs and arms and stuff, and I've never seen anybody walk in who'd made their own prosthetic. He actually made his own arm, and I was just amazed at that somebody would do that. But he had this wonderful idea that to make the arm usable, he put a key chuck off a drill bit onto it, so he could change inner tool stuff out of it. But he needed some way to get it to attach and stay on his arm. He molded the whole thing and made it for himself, which just blew me away. And I was just amazed at the guy and just inspired by him.
I'll bet. And probably really glad to help him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because now here's a guy that's really trying his very best. I want to be part of this, right?
Yeah.
This is the one he's using now, and this is your latest incarnation of how you've helped him. And you can see that you have to have a good, sturdy leather attachment, right?
Yes. And you can see it's well worn and used.
Oh, he has used it. But you went through some trial and error here through the process, too, didn't you?
We started off with something really soft and flimsy, hoping that it would hold on better, but it actually gave way more. So we went through the years with the different trials and tests. It became something firmer and harder and stronger. He really uses it.
Yeah. Now, show us what you had to fashion out of the leather here.
Okay, well he'd fashioned where these bolts bolt into his arm here, and he's all reinforced with steel, so this is all strong. So we made the leather that came up to him, up past his elbow, so he would turn at his elbow and still keep on the arm and still be able to use it and pull on things and use hammers and things too. So all of this, it's nylon reinforced with leather and then reinforced with nylon behind that to make it all good and strong.
And how does he attach it? It looks like you have
It's got a clip here, just a plastic clip.
And that holds on through the years pretty well, doesn't it?
Broken just very few of them.
Yeah, my bike helmet has one of those.
Yes.
And so they're really good, just multi-use, aren't they?
Yeah, they really worked well.
You mentioned that he's an inspiration.
Yes.
He's been an inspiration to me too, but I don't know him like you do. He's just he won't be beat, will he? He just won't be beat.
You know, we all have things that hold us back, and he's never had anything that held him back. He just needs a new tool for it. You know, we all have things that just get in our way, and we limit ourselves more than what is happening to us did. So his arm never held him back at all. He was always able to go past that because he had a desire to do that. And he just is able to work and build his home and work in all kinds of tools, working with chainsaws, you name it, he does it still.
I know, and I couldn't build a house anyway, but I couldn't build those tools to start with.
Yeah. necessity's a mother of invention. That's what he's got here. Every time he needed something, he just went out and invented it again.
That's right.
So.
And you know, we hear so much this day and age of people asking for help and needing help, and we've got to help everybody. And you know what? When you meet somebody who's totally self-sufficient, you just go, wow.
Yeah. Stop limiting yourself with your own ideas and just go do it.
Yeah. Well, I know he thanks you, and thanks for being here, because meeting him through your eyes is a nice thing to do too. So thank you.
Yeah, well, he's a wonderful inspiration for me. Thanks.
Well, Bill, of course you always want to be able to operate your tractor, but back when you wanted to drive over-the-road truck again, you had the problem. IDOT says you have to have both hands on the wheel, and you only had one hand. So what'd you do?
Well, I had to go to various different doctors, and the final one was a bone doctor, and that was the first thing out of his mouth was, how can you hold both the steering wheel with both hands? And I showed him what I had made here, and just put that in there and control it. And he looked at it and he wrote right across the top of it, he said, "The most ingenious invention I've ever seen."
He'd never seen a prosthesis like this, had he?
No, he hadn't. He had no idea what I was bringing in. Whatever I would in.
You impressed him.
Yeah.
Bill, for a living now, you grow hay, you bale hay, and you cut firewood.
Yes.
So you got to be able to work a chainsaw.
Right.
Yeah, and that's where this, do we call it the general hook or the big hook, or what did we call this?
No, this is designed basically to keep from hitting the brake.
Okay, so you wouldn't be able to operate the chainsaw without this special tool right here?
Right.
Okay.
Because I'd keep hitting the brake and then stop.
Well, show us how it works. Show us how to do it. You're a brave man too, because this is how you hurt yourself, right? Operating this chainsaw.
Well, that was because the saw wouldn't, whenever I was falling over, would, you know.
Yeah, it was.
This hand wouldn't, I let go. If I held this hand, then I wouldn't fell into it when the leg broke.
Yeah. Bill, maybe one of your favorite tools that you built is the smallest one.
Yes. And the one I'm the proudest of, due to the fact that people said I couldn't write no more. That was one of the biggest things that, I don't know why it was so important people think I had to write. So I designed this, and Greg made it, and then it works. And so all you have to do is
Bill Robinson.
I don't, I'm not as good with it now because I haven't used it for a few years.
I want to show this close up because you can see what you've done is you've got a swivel in there which allows that pen to move to get an angle. Without an angle you can't make letters. So that really is cool. That's really neat. But before this you learned to write left-handed, right?
Yes.
And that wasn't a problem for you?
No. Didn't have nothing else to do.
No, of course not. But you were still working. I mean, you were driving, you were farming, you were doing everything you needed to do.
Well, I made this before I went back to driving because I was off for How long was I off, Marge?
6 months. Yeah, yeah, 6 months. And that was 6 months more than you wanted, wasn't it?
No, I'm lazy. I'd soon not do anything.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly your level of laziness. Just to gauge that laziness for you, of course, there's still 200 acres here on the farm that have to be hayed and taken care of. Of course, taking care of this huge house. And there's the 4-car garage on the other side of the house that he and Marge are still going to build. With another Illinois story near Liberty, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.